Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that everything you've been taught about money is backwards and that your financial struggles aren't? Because you're not working hard enough, but because you've been speaking the wrong language to the universe. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Right now, as you're watching this, there are people around the globe who have completely transformed their financial reality. Not through grinding harder, not through sacrificing more, but through understanding one fundamental truth that changes everything. They've discovered that money isn't something you chase. It's something that responds to your command. Has this ever happened to you? You work longer hours. You stress about bills. You constantly worry about having enough. Yet somehow, the harder you try, the more elusive financial freedom becomes. You feel like you're running on a hamster wheel, exhausting yourself, but never really getting anywhere. Meanwhile, you watch others seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, abundance, and wealth. And you wonder what secret they know that you don't. Here's what might surprise you. You've been approaching money like a desperate beggar when you were born to live like a divine heir. The difference between these two approaches isn't just philosophical. It's the difference between struggle and flow, between anxiety and certainty, between constantly chasing and naturally receiving. You see, money operates on spiritual principles that most people never learn, while the world teaches you to hustle harder, work longer, and fight your way to financial success. There's an ancient understanding that reveals money as something far more profound. Money in its truest essence is energy. Pure spiritual substance that's designed to move and flow according to specific laws. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely revolutionize how you think about wealth creation. The secret isn't in doing more. It's in speaking differently. It's not about earning money through sweat and struggle. It's about commanding it through spiritual alignment and the power of your spoken word. Every single day without realizing it, you're issuing commands through your words, your thoughts, and your vibration. When you say things like, "I can't afford this," "money is tight," or "Ach," you're not just describing your situation. You're actually creating it. The universe, being perfectly obedient to spiritual law, responds to these declarations by making them your reality. But here's where it gets fascinating. Just as your words have been creating limitation, they can also create abundance. There's a specific way of speaking, a particular spiritual frequency that money responds to immediately. When you align your voice with divine authority and speak from certainty rather than fear, something remarkable happens. Money stops being something you chase and becomes something that seeks you out. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful affirmations. This is about understanding that there are precise spiritual laws governing abundance. And when you learn to work with these laws instead of against them, your entire financial reality can shift in ways that seem almost miraculous to others, but are simply natural law in action. The people who seem to effortlessly attract wealth aren't lucky. They're aligned. They've learned to speak the language that money understands. They've discovered how to issue clear, uncompromising commands to the spiritual substance that governs all visible manifestation. What you're about to learn isn't theory. It's a practical, proven method that has transformed countless lives. You're going to discover the exact sentence that can shift your entire financial vibration. And more importantly, you're going to understand why it works and how to use it with the authority of someone who knows their words carry divine power. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a hidden truth that most people never discover about how the universe actually operates. Every time you open your mouth, you're not just making sounds or expressing thoughts. You're issuing commands to the invisible forces that shape your reality. The universe is constantly listening, waiting with perfect attention for your tongue to issue clear and uncompromising decrees. This might sound mystical, but it's actually incredibly practical. Think about the most successful people you know or have heard about. Listen carefully to how they speak about money, opportunities, and their future. They don't say, "I hope things work out," or "maybe I'll be able to afford that someday." They speak with certainty, with authority, as if their words carry weight in the invisible realm. And they do. If you're serious about transforming your financial reality and want to stay connected to teachings that actually work, subscribe to this channel. This is where people come when they're ready to move beyond theory into real, demonstrable results. I don't want you to miss a single piece of wisdom that could be the key to your breakthrough. Your spoken word carries divine authority. Whether you realize it or not, every declaration you make is like signing a spiritual contract with the universe. When you say, "I never have enough money," you're not just describing your situation, you're ordering more of the same. When you declare, "I can't afford this," you're commanding your reality to reflect that limitation. The universe, being perfectly obedient to this cosmic law, has no choice but to fulfill your spoken instructions. Here's the revelation that changes everything. Your current financial situation isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. Every struggle, every limitation, every moment of lack that you've experienced has been the direct result of commands you've unknowingly issued through your words, thoughts, and emotional vibrations. This isn't about blame. It's about empowerment. Because if you created your current reality through unconscious commands, imagine what you can create through conscious ones. Most people live their entire lives without understanding this fundamental principle. They wonder why abundance seems to avoid them, why opportunities pass them by, why money feels so hard to come by. The answer lies in their daily dialogue with the universe. They've been giving mixed signals, unclear instructions, and commands rooted in fear rather than faith. But here's where your transformation begins. Once you understand that the universe has been responding to your words with mathematical precision, you realize that changing your financial reality is as simple as changing your spiritual vocabulary. This journey from unconscious creation to conscious command is where true freedom lies. The impact of this revelation cannot be overstated. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every moment when money seemed to appear from nowhere, there was someone who learned to speak the language that abundance understands. They discovered how to issue commands from a place of spiritual authority, rather than earthly desperation. Your mindset around money is about to undergo a complete transformation because you're about to learn the specific words that command prosperity rather than perpetuate poverty. The decisions you make about how you speak from this moment forward will determine whether you continue living as someone who chases money or become someone who commands it. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to command abundance," if this resonates with you and you're prepared to step into this new understanding of how your words create your world. Now, let me share with you the most profound revelation that will completely transform your relationship with money. Hidden within ancient spiritual wisdom lies one specific sentence that carries such power, such precise vibrational frequency that it can instruct infinite source and divine intelligence to open every concealed doorway of abundance in your life. This isn't just another affirmation or positive statement. This is a spiritual key that unlocks the treasury of the universe. The journey from financial struggle to effortless abundance hinges on understanding this one critical truth. There exists a precise way of speaking that bypasses all the limitations you've been operating under. When you discover this sentence and learn to speak it with the proper authority, something miraculous happens in the invisible realm. The very forces that govern prosperity begin to rearrange themselves in your favor. Here's what most people don't realize about the mechanics of manifestation. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, there's a specific vibrational frequency that was activated through spoken word. The universe operates like a vast computer system, and your words are the programming language. Most people have been coding limitation and scarcity without even knowing it. But when you learn the correct syntax, the results are immediate and undeniable. This transformation goes far deeper than just changing your mindset. It's about aligning with the fundamental laws govern how energy moves in the physical world. Money at its core is simply energy, and energy always flows toward the path of least resistance. When you speak this particular sentence with understanding and conviction, you become that path of least resistance. The impact of this revelation cannot be understated. Once you begin speaking correctly, the entire dynamic between you and money shifts completely. Instead of you chasing money constantly, worrying about where the next payment will come from, constantly strategizing and stressing about financial security, money begins to seek you out. It finds you through unexpected channels, surprising opportunities, and seemingly coincidental circumstances that align perfectly with your needs. This isn't about luck or chance. It's about creating a magnetic field of abundance around yourself through the precise use of spiritual law. The decisions you make about how you speak and what you declare will determine whether you continue operating in the old paradigm of financial struggle or step into this new reality where resources flow to you naturally. People who understand this principle live in a completely different world than those who don't. They experience what others call miracles on a regular basis. Unexpected checks in the mail, surprise bonuses, debts that suddenly get forgiven, opportunities that appear out of nowhere. But these aren't miracles to them. They're simply the natural result of speaking in alignment with divine law. The sentence I'm about to share with you has been tested by time, proven by countless individuals who dared to speak it with conviction, and it operates with the same precision as gravity or any other natural law. When you speak it consistently, rhythmically, and with absolute faith in its power, the universe has no choice but to respond. Money stops being something that evades you and becomes something that actively pursues you. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to receive." If you can feel the shift happening already and you're prepared to wow, learn this life-changing sentence. The moment you truly grasp this principle, your entire emotional relationship with money undergoes a fundamental transformation. Instead of waking up each morning with that familiar, not of financial anxiety in your stomach, wondering how you'll make ends meet this month, you begin to experience something completely different: divine certainty. This isn't just confidence or positive thinking. It's a deep, unshakable knowing that your supply is, because you've aligned yourself with the laws that govern abundance. Most people live their entire lives trapped in financial anxiety, constantly worried about having enough, constantly stressed about unexpected expenses, constantly feeling like they're one crisis away from disaster. But this anxiety isn't actually about money. It's about not understanding how the universe really operates. When you realize that wealth is not accidental, that it's not dependent on economic conditions or lucky breaks, but rather that it's vibrational and spiritually commanded, everything changes. Behind the scenes of what appears to be a chaotic, unpredictable world, there are precise, immutable, divine laws governing everything. The universe isn't ruled by luck, chance, or random circumstances. It operates with mathematical precision, according to spiritual principles that are as reliable as gravity. Among the highest and most powerful of these laws is the law of the spoken word, which carries creative power beyond what most people can imagine. This revelation completely shifts your approach to life. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, constantly reacting to external conditions, you begin to understand that you're actually a co-creator with the universe. Every word you speak is programming your reality. Every declaration you make is setting spiritual law into motion. This journey from anxiety to certainty happens when you realize that you're not at the mercy of economic forces. You're working with cosmic forces. The impact of this understanding cannot be overstated. People who live in divine certainty move through the world differently. They make decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. They speak about their future with confidence because they know their words are creating that future. They don't panic when challenges arise because they understand that every challenge is an opportunity to demonstrate their spiritual authority. This transformation in mindset creates a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. When you're no longer operating from financial fear, you make better decisions. You take calculated risks that lead to greater rewards. You attract opportunities that you would have missed when you were vibrating at the frequency of lack and limitation. The hidden truth is that the universe has been waiting for you to step into this level of spiritual maturity. It's been waiting for you to stop begging and start commanding, to stop worrying and start declaring, to stop reacting and start creating. The moment you align yourself with divine law rather than human opinion, the moment you begin to speak from spiritual authority rather than earthly anxiety, everything in your external world begins to shift to match this new internal frequency. If this content created a shift in your understanding, If you can feel the power behind these principles, show me by hitting the like button. It's your way of saying this resonated with my soul, and it helps ensure that more people who need this message will find it exactly when they're ready. Write in the comments, "I choose divine certainty," if you're ready to make this fundamental shift from anxiety to absolute faith in your spiritual authority. Now, let me take you to the very foundation of creation itself. Because understanding this will completely revolutionize how you view the power that flows through your own voice. From the very beginning of existence, when the universe was nothing but void and darkness, God didn't reach out with hands to sculpt reality into being. God didn't use tools or machines or physical force. Instead, creation happened through sound. Let there be light, and there was light. These weren't just words describing what happened. These were the actual creative mechanism through which reality came into existence. This isn't just ancient history or religious poetry. This is the blueprint for how creation works. And here's the remarkable truth. That same divine authority through spoken word has been gifted to you. You carry within your vocal cords the same creative power that spoke galaxies into existence, that commanded light to pierce through darkness, that established the laws of physics and set the planets in their courses. Most people go through their entire lives treating their voice as mere decoration, as just a way to communicate thoughts or express emotions. But your voice is actually a creative force of immense power. Every single word you speak carries vibration, and every vibration issues precise instructions to the substance of the universe. When you understand this, when you really grasp the magnitude of every time you open your mouth, it changes everything about how you approach your financial reality. The journey from unconscious speaking to conscious creation is where true transformation begins. Behind the scenes of every word you've ever spoken, there have been invisible forces responding, rearranging, and manifesting according to the vibrational instructions you've been sending out. The universe doesn't judge whether your words are positive or negative, helpful or harmful. It simply responds to the frequency you're broadcasting. This revelation explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance while others struggle despite working twice as hard. It's not about effort, education, or even opportunity. It's about understanding that your voice is literally programming your reality moment by moment, word by word, declaration by declaration. The decisions you make about what to speak and how to speak them are actually decisions about what kind of life you want to create. The impact of this understanding ripples through every area of your existence. When you realize that your words are not just sounds, but actual creative commands, you become incredibly intentional about your spiritual vocabulary. You stop casually throwing around phrases like, "I can't afford it," or "money doesn't grow on trees," because you understand that these aren't just expressions. They're programming instructions that the universe takes literally. The hidden truth is that you've been creating your current financial situation through your spoken words without even realizing it. Every complaint about money, every statement of limitation, every expression of financial fear has been a creative command that the universe has faithfully fulfilled. But now that you understand how this works, you can begin to use this same power deliberately and consciously. Write in the comments, "My voice creates my reality," if you're beginning to grasp the incredible power that flows through every word you speak. This understanding opens up an entirely new dimension of how reality operates. Because the universe doesn't just respond to your words, it responds to the emotional frequency behind those words. When you speak from fear, that fear literally becomes form in your physical experience. Every worried statement about money, every anxious declaration about your financial future, every fearful prediction about what might happen. These aren't just thoughts floating harmlessly in the air. They're creative commands that the universe interprets as instructions to manifest more circumstances that will justify that fear. But here's where the transformation becomes profound. When you speak from truth, from divine certainty, from spiritual authority, that truth becomes substance in your reality. The same creative mechanism that manifests fear can manifest abundance. The same vibrational frequency that creates limitation can create overflow. The same spiritual law that responds to worry can respond to faith. It all depends on the emotional foundation from which you're speaking. This journey into conscious creation reveals something remarkable about how the universe has been designed to respond to human consciousness. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle, every money challenge, every moment of lack, there's been a consistent pattern of fear-based speaking that the universe has been faithfully fulfilling. But behind every financial breakthrough, every unexpected abundance, every moment when money seemed to appear from nowhere, there's been someone who learned to speak from truth rather than fear. The impact of this relation cannot be overstated because it means you have far more control over your circumstances than you ever imagined. The decisions you make about which emotional frequency to speak from, fear or faith, worry or certainty, doubt or conviction, are literally decisions about what kind of reality you want to experience. This isn't just spiritual philosophy. It's actually supported by ancient wisdom that has guided humanity for thousands of years. Scripture declares with absolute clarity, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." Notice what this doesn't say. It doesn't say you need to understand how it works. It doesn't say you need to earn it through suffering or prove you deserve it through struggle. It simply says you must decree it. The hidden truth embedded in this ancient text is that the universe operates on a decree system. You're not begging for abundance. You're commanding it. You're not asking permission from circumstances. You're issuing spiritual instructions that transcend physical limitations. This mindset shift from requesting to decreeing, from hoping to declaring, from wishing to commanding is where your financial transformation begins. Most people approach money like they're asking for a favor from a reluctant universe. But the reality is that abundance is the natural state waiting for your authoritative command. When you decree something from a place of spiritual authority backed by divine certainty spoken with conviction and faith, the universe has no choice but to establish it unto you. Write in the comments, "I decree my abundance," if you're ready to step into this level of spiritual authority and speak from truth rather than fear. Understanding what it truly means to decree transforms everything about how you approach your relationship with abundance. To decree isn't to ask, hope, or wish. It's to issue a spiritual verdict, a final word spoken from absolute authority. When a judge issues a decree in court, there's no pleading, no uncertainty, no doubt in their voice. They speak with the full weight of legal authority behind them, knowing that their words carry the power to change reality. This is exactly the same energy you must bring to your financial declarations. When you subscribe, you're not just getting access to more content. You're joining a community of people who understand that words create worlds, and that spiritual law is the most practical tool for creating abundance. Hit that subscribe button because your journey into conscious creation is just beginning. The transformation happens when you realize that most people, without knowing it, spend their entire lives speaking like beggars instead of declaring with authority. They approach money from a position of lack, uncertainty, and spiritual poverty, never understanding that this very approach is what keeps them trapped in limitation. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle is someone who has been unconsciously programming scarcity through their daily dialogue with the universe. Listen to the conversations happening around you every day, and you'll hear the exact reason why so many people remain stuck in financial limitation. They say things like, "I hope I can afford it," which is actually a command to the universe to keep that item just beyond their reach. They declare, "I'm always broke," which is a spiritual verdict that ensures they'll continue experiencing that exact reality. They state money just doesn't come easily to me, which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that the universe obediently fulfills with mathematical precision. This revelation about how language creates reality explains the hidden truth behind why some people seem to attract money effortlessly, while others struggle despite their best efforts. It's not about education, background, or even opportunity. It's about the fundamental difference between speaking from spiritual authority versus speaking from earthly limitation. The impact of this understanding ripples through every decision you make about your financial future. The journey from unconscious poverty programming to conscious abundance commanding requires a complete overhaul of your spiritual vocabulary. Every casual statement about money becomes a moment of choice. Will you speak from the old paradigm of lack and limitation, or will you speak from the new understanding of divine authority and certain supply? Most people have no idea that the universe takes their words literally. When they say, "I can't afford it," the universe doesn't interpret this as temporary disappointment. It receives it as a direct command to maintain that state of being unable to afford things. The mindset shift happens when you realize that every complaint about money, every statement of financial limitation, every expression of economic worry is actually creative decree that the universe faithfully manifests in your experience. The hidden mechanics of manifestation operate with perfect precision. The universe doesn't judge whether your words are serving your highest good. It simply responds to the vibrational instructions you're broadcasting. This is why conscious speaking becomes such a powerful tool for transformation. Write in the comments, "I speak with authority," if you're committed to ending the unconscious poverty programming and stepping into your role as a spiritual commander of abundance. Now, let me reveal something that will completely shift how you understand the relationship between your words and your financial reality. The spoken word isn't metaphorical or symbolic. it's mechanical. When you speak, you're not just expressing thoughts or emotions. You're literally setting spiritual law into motion with the precision of a machine. Every declaration you make places the gears of supply into movement, either opening or closing the gates of provision, based on the exact vibrational instruction you're broadcasting into the universe. This mechanical nature of spiritual law explains why some people experience such dramatic financial transformations when they learn to speak correctly while others remain stuck despite years of positive thinking or visualization. It's not about hoping or wishing or trying to feel good about money. It's about understanding that your voice operates like a spiritual remote control that's constantly programming your financial experience. The journey into this deeper understanding reveals a truth that changes everything. Money doesn't move based on emotion or struggle. You can work 18 hours a day, stress yourself into exhaustion, worry constantly about bills, and still struggle financially because you're operating under the illusion that physical effort creates financial results. But money, being spiritual, responds exclusively to vibrational instruction, not physical exertion. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every moment when abundance appeared seemingly out of nowhere, there was someone who learned to issue clear, vibrational instructions through their spoken word. The transformation happens when you realize that the clearest, most effective way to issue these instructions is through bold, rhythmic spiritual speech that carries the frequency of certainty and divine authority. Most people approach money with tentative, uncertain language because they've been conditioned to believe that humility means speaking softly about their desires. But the universe doesn't respond to timid requests. It responds to confident commands. The impact of this revelation is profound because it means you can literally reprogram your financial reality by changing how you speak about money, not just what you think about it. The decisions you make about the rhythm, tone, and authority behind your words determine whether you're opening the floodgates of abundance or reinforcing the walls of limitation. When you speak with bold certainty, with rhythmic repetition, with the conviction that your words carry divine power, you're issuing the kind of vibrational instruction that money cannot ignore. A simple like on this video tells me that we connected today, that these teachings landed in fertile ground. It also helps the algorithm share this wisdom with others who are searching for real answers to their financial struggles. Your like might be what helps someone else discover their path to abundance. This mindset shift from tentative hoping to authoritative commanding explains why certain individuals seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others struggle despite having similar skills or education. It's not about luck or connections. It's about understanding that money responds to spiritual frequency, and that frequency is most clearly transmitted through conscious intentional speech patterns. Write in the comments, money responds to my voice. If you're beginning to understand that your spoken word is the key that unlocks the gates of financial provision. This revelation takes us even deeper into the mechanics of creation. Because when you truly understand that there is no neutrality in speech, your entire approach to daily conversation transforms. Every single word that passes through your lips is a cause that sets effects into motion. Every sentence, you speak is a seed that will eventually grow into the circumstances of your life. The profound impact of this understanding is that most people, without realizing it, are sowing seeds of poverty with their daily dialogue, wondering why they keep harvesting financial struggle. The journey from unconscious seed sowing to conscious creation begins when you realize that every casual comment about money, every offhand remark about your financial situation, every seemingly innocent statement about what you can or cannot afford is actually programming your future reality. Behind the scenes of your current financial circumstances lies a trail of words you've spoken over months and years. Each one a seed that has grown into the harvest you're experiencing today. This transformation in awareness completely changes how you move through the world. When you understand that your voice is constantly planting seeds in the invisible realm, you become incredibly intentional about what you're cultivating. The decisions you make about which words to speak and which thoughts to voice become decisions about what kind of financial garden you want to grow in your life. Here's where the hidden truth becomes even more liberating. Money is not scarce, cruel, or hiding from you. Despite what the news might tell you, despite what economic experts might predict, despite what your current bank balance might suggest, money itself is not the problem. Money is simply spiritual substance waiting patiently for a clear command from a spiritually aligned voice. It's been there all along, ready to respond, ready to flow, ready to manifest in your experience. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that money responds to authority, not effort. You can exhaust yourself working multiple jobs, sacrifice your health and relationships in pursuit of financial security, stress yourself into illness, worrying about bills, and still struggle financially because you're operating from the wrong paradigm entirely. Money doesn't care how hard you work. It cares how clearly you command. This mindset shift explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while others struggle despite tremendous effort. Those who understand this principle speak to money like a master speaks to a servant, with clear expectations, unwavering authority, and absolute confidence that their commands will be obeyed. They've learned that the universe responds to spiritual frequency, not physical force. The impact of this understanding ripples through every aspect of your financial experience, because it means you can stop exhausting yourself trying to force outcomes and start focusing on the one thing that actually creates results. Speaking with the kind of spiritual authority that money recognizes and obeys. Write in the comments, "I command," with clarity. If you're ready to stop working harder and start speaking with the authority that makes money respond immediately. The moment you begin to speak as one who commands spiritual law rather than begs for favors from an uncertain universe, everything in your reality starts to shift in ways that seem almost miraculous to those who don't understand these principles. Resources begin to appear from unexpected sources. Opportunities open up that you never could have anticipated. And doors that seemed permanently locked suddenly swing wide. Not because you hustled harder or worked more strategically, but simply because you spoke with the kind of authority that the universe recognizes and responds to immediately. This transformation reveals the hidden truth behind every significant finance through you've ever witnessed. Behind the scenes of those moments when someone's life completely changed overnight, when they received an unexpected inheritance, when they landed the perfect job seemingly out of nowhere, when their business suddenly took off, there was always someone who had learned to express their spiritual authority through speech rather than effort. The journey from powerless, pleading to authoritative commanding represents one of the most profound shifts a person can make in their relationship with abundance. When you understand that your voice carries the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence, when you realize that every word you speak is programming your reality, when you grasp that the universe is literally waiting for your clear commands, everything about how you approach your financial life changes fundamentally. This revelation brings us to perhaps the most powerful truth of all. One sentence, spoken in spiritual alignment with riven repetition and unwavering belief, can undo a lifetime of financial limitation and completely rewire your subconscious mind. Not a book full of affirmations, not years of therapy, not decades of hard work. One sentence spoken correctly, consistently, and with absolute conviction. The impact of this understanding cannot be overstated because it means that your entire financial destiny can shift through the power of conscious speech. The decisions you make about which sentence to speak and how to speak it become the most important financial decisions you'll ever make. This mindset shift from complex strategies to simple spiritual commands is where true transformation begins. Most people spend their entire lives trying to figure out complicated formulas for financial success. But the universe operates on elegance and simplicity. One properly spoken sentence carries more transformative power than 1,000 desperate strategies. The hidden mechanics of manifestation respond to clarity, conviction, and spiritual authority, all of which can be concentrated into a single precisely crafted declaration. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful affirmations. This is about understanding that there exists one specific sentence that, when spoken with the proper understanding and unwavering faith, can reprogram decades of limitation programming and establish a new vibrational frequency that money cannot resist. Write in the comments, one sentence changes everything. If you're ready to discover the exact words that can transform your entire financial reality through the power of conscious decree. This understanding takes us far beyond the realm of positive thinking or wishful affirmations into the territory of absolute spiritual law. What I'm sharing with you operates with the same precision and reliability as the law that governs tides, that keeps planets in their orbits, that ensures seasons change with perfect timing. This law doesn't fail, it doesn't sleep, it doesn't have good days or bad days, and it certainly doesn't argue with your commands. It simply fulfills whatever vibrational instruction you consistently broadcast. Whether that instruction serves your highest good or perpetuates your limitations, the transformation happens when you realize that you're not trying to convince the universe to help you. You're actually working with cosmic principles that are as dependable as gravity. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle, every unexpected windfall, every moment when abundance appeared seemingly from nowhere, these same immutable laws were operating with mathematical precision. The journey from struggle to flow is simply a matter of aligning your spoken word with these eternal principles. This revelation brings us to the moment you've been waiting for, the unveiling of the exact sentence that can shift your entire financial vibration and command abundance to find you rather than forcing you to chase it. After everything we've explored about the power of conscious speech, about divine authority, about speaking from truth rather than fear, here are the precise words that carry the vibrational frequency of unlimited supply. The sentences, Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me in great avalanches of abundance. These aren't just words strung together hopefully. This is a precisely crafted spiritual command that addresses the source of all abundance directly, removes every obstacle to your prosperity, and calls forth your divine inheritance with the authority of someone who knows their words carry creative power. The impact of speaking this sentence correctly, consistently, and with unwavering conviction cannot be understated. Every word has been chosen for its specific vibrational frequency. Every phrase carries divine authority, and the entire structure creates a spiritual command that the universe must obey. The decisions you make about how often to speak this sentence, with what level of conviction you declare it, and whether you approach it as a desperate plea or an authoritative decree, will determine how quickly and powerfully it transforms your financial reality. This mindset shift from random hoping to precise commanding represents the difference between those who spend their lives struggling with money and those who live in effortless abundance. The hidden truth is that this sentence works not because it's magical thinking, but because it aligns your voice with the fundamental laws that govern how abundance flows through the universe. Write in the comments, I speak this with authority if you're ready to use this exact sentence to command your financial transformation. Now, let me share with you the fundamental difference between how the world approaches financial transformation and how truth operates. The world constantly tells you to work harder, hustle more, sacrifice everything, fight your way forward through sheer determination and endless effort. But truth operates from an entirely different paradigm. Truth says, speak the word only and thy servant shall be healed. This isn't just ancient wisdom. It's a practical instruction for how creation actually works. Life and death, abundance and lack, prosperity and poverty are literally in the power of your tongue. This revelation completely transforms how you approach every financial challenge in your life. Instead of asking yourself, how can I work harder to solve this? Or what more can I do to make this happen? You begin asking, what am I speaking into existence and how can I command this situation through my word? The journey from physical effort to spiritual authority represents one of the most profound shifts in consciousness you can make. Behind the scenes of this transformation lies a crucial understanding that most people never grasp. You cannot speak two languages and expect clarity from the universe. The decisions you make about consistency in your speech determine whether you experience consistent results or constant confusion. You cannot declare abundance in the morning, when you're feeling inspired, and then complain about money in the afternoon, when bills arrive. You cannot command prosperity on Sunday and curse your financial situation on Monday. The impact of this truth reaches into every moment of your day, because it means that your financial breakthrough depends not just on speaking the right words, but on speaking only the right words. Every casual comment, every offhand remark, every unconscious statement about money either reinforces your spiritual command or completely undermines it. The universe doesn't distinguish between what you mean seriously and what you say casually. It responds to the vibrational frequency you're consistently broadcasting. This mindset shift requires a level of spiritual discipline that transforms you from someone who reacts to circumstances into someone who creates circumstances. When you choose to speak only the language of abundance, when you refuse to give voice to limitation, when you become vigilant about every word that passes through your lips, you begin to experience the kind of consistency in results that seems miraculous to others, but is simply the natural outcome of aligned speech. The hidden truth is that most people sabotage their own manifestations through inconsistent speaking. They'll speak powerfully about their abundance for a few days, then spend weeks complaining about their bills, wondering why the universe seems confused about what they actually want. But when you commit to speaking only one language, the language of divine supply, spiritual authority, and certain abundance, everything begins to align. Write in the comments, I choose one language if you're ready to commit to speaking only words that create the financial reality you desire. This understanding brings us to perhaps the most practical and transformative aspect of this entire teaching. You must become completely disciplined in your speech, not casual in your declarations, not soft in your commands, not reactive in your responses to circumstances, but absolutely deliberate, bold, spiritual, and rhythmic in every word you speak about money and abundance. The transformation from unconscious speaking to conscious creation requires this level of spiritual discipline because your life reflects your language with mathematical precision. Most people treat their speech like background noise, casually throwing around words without any awareness of their creative power. But when you understand that every word is programming your reality, every sentence is setting law into motion, every declaration is either opening or closing the floodgates of abundance, you begin to approach your vocabulary with the same reverence a master craftsman brings to their tools. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle lies a pattern of undisciplined speech. The journey from limitation to abundance often requires nothing more than becoming vigilant about the words you allow to pass through your lips. If your bank account is in disorder, the first place to look isn't the economy, your job, or your circumstances. Check your vocabulary. If debts seem to multiply despite your best efforts, don't blame external forces. Check your declarations. The mouth is literally the gate through which divine supply either flows freely or gets completely blocked. This revelation transforms how you view every financial challenge in your life. Instead of looking for complex solutions or blaming external circumstances, you begin to understand that your mouth has been either your greatest asset or your biggest liability in creating financial results. The impact of this awareness ripples through every conversation, every thought you voice, every casual comment you make about money. The decisions you make about speech discipline become the most important financial decisions you can make. When you commit to speaking only words that align with abundance, when you refuse to give voice to limitation, When you become rhythmic and deliberate in your declarations, rather than casual and reactive, you literally reprogram your subconscious mind and command the universe to respond differently. This mindset shift explains why some people can transform their entire financial reality seemingly overnight, while others struggle for years with the same strategies. Those who experience rapid transformation have learned that the shortest distance between financial struggle and financial freedom is not through more effort but through disciplined speech that aligns with spiritual law. The hidden truth is that your current financial situation is a perfect reflection of your habitual speech patterns. Every limitation you're experiencing can be traced back to words you've spoken consistently over time. Write in the comments, "I discipline my speech." If you're ready to take complete responsibility for the words you speak and transform your financial reality through conscious communication. This understanding brings us to one of the most liberating revelations you can ever receive about how the universe operates in your life. The law that governs abundance is not punishing you, criticizing you, or working against you in any way. It's actually serving you with perfect loyalty and absolute precision. But here's the crucial truth that changes everything. It cannot serve what you refuse to declare. The law can only multiply what you consistently speak into existence, which means you must become absolutely intentional about speaking only what you wish to multiply in your experience. The transformation from victim to victor happens when you realize that the universe has been serving your words faithfully, whether those words create abundance or limitation. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle, there's been someone unconsciously declaring lack, limitation, and scarcity, and the law has been loyally serving those declarations. But the moment you begin speaking only abundance, prosperity, and divine supply, that same faithful law immediately begins serving those new declarations instead. This journey into conscious creation requires establishing a rhythm that reprograms your subconscious mind and establishes a new vibrational frequency in your life. Every morning before you check your phone, before you engage with the world's energy, before you allow external circumstances to influence your inner state, you must speak clearly as one who is already provided for. Not as a beggar hoping for mercy, but as a builder constructing your reality through conscious decree. The impact of this morning practice cannot be overstated because it sets the vibrational tone for your entire day. When you begin each day by declaring your abundance, by speaking the sacred sentence with conviction, by addressing infinite spirit as your source, rather than your circumstances as your limitation, you're programming your subconscious mind to expect and attract abundance throughout the day. The decisions you make about your evening practice are equally crucial because they determine what your subconscious mind processes during sleep. Every evening before you cross the threshold into rest, you must speak again, sealing your day with declarations of divine supply rather than worries about tomorrow's challenges. This rhythm of morning and evening declaration creates a consistent vibrational frequency that money cannot ignore. The hidden truth behind this practice is that it transforms you from someone who reacts to circumstances into someone who creates circumstances. Most people wake up checking their bank balance, their bills, their problems, allowing external conditions to determine their internal state. But when you establish this disciplined rhythm of conscious speaking, you begin each day from a position of spiritual authority rather than earthly anxiety. This mindset shift explains why those who practice this principle seem to live in a completely different reality than those who don't. They're not lucky or privileged. They've simply learned to speak their reality into existence through consistent, rhythmic declaration. Write in the comments, "I establish my rhythm," if you're ready to commit to this morning and evening practice that will reprogram your entire relationship with abundance. This revelation completely transforms how most people approach the manifestation process because it reverses the order they think is necessary for creating change. Don't wait until you feel rich to speak as the rich speak. Don't postpone your declarations until your circumstances improve. Don't hold back your spiritual authority until your bank account reflects abundance. The hidden truth behind all manifestation, if you must speak it first. Feelings will follow your frequency and conditions will obey your confession with mathematical precision. Most people trap themselves in a waiting game that never ends. They think they need to feel prosperous before they can speak prosperously. They believe they need evidence before they can declare abundance. They assume they need proof before they can command supply. But this backwards approach keeps them locked in limitation because they're trying to create from effect rather than cause. The transformation happens when you understand that your spoken word is the cause and everything else, including your feelings and circumstances, is the effect. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, there was someone who learned to speak from their desired reality rather than their current circumstances. The journey from limitation to abundance requires this fundamental shift in approach. When you speak the sacred sentence with authority, when you declare your divine supply with conviction, when you command abundance to find you, you're not lying or pretending. You're actually speaking from the invisible realm, where your abundance already exists, waiting for your command to manifest in the physical world. The impact of this understanding changes everything about how you approach your daily declarations. When you speak, you must do so with feeling, with rhythm, with absolute conviction that what you decree is already established in the invisible realm. You're not trying to create something new. You're calling forth what already belongs to you by divine right. This mindset shift from creating to claiming, from manifesting to commanding, from hoping to knowing, transforms the entire energy behind your words. The decisions you make about the emotional frequency you bring to your declarations determine how quickly and powerfully they manifest. When you speak with half-hearted hope, the universe receives a weak signal. But when you speak with the feeling of someone who knows their words carry divine authority, when you bring rhythm and conviction to your declarations, when you speak as if what you're decreeing is already done, the universe has no choice but to respond immediately. This revelation explains why some people see instant results, while others speak the same words without effect. It's not about the words themselves. It's about the feeling, conviction, and spiritual authority behind those words. The hidden mechanics of manifestation respond to your emotional frequency more than your intellectual understanding. Write in the comments, "I speak with conviction," if You're ready to bring this level of feeling and authority to every declaration you make. Now, I want to take you deeper into understanding why this sacred sentence carries such transformative power by breaking down each phrase, so you can speak it with complete understanding and unwavering authority. When you begin with infinite spirit, you're making a profound declaration about where you're placing your trust and from whom. You're requesting supply. You're addressing the source directly, bypassing every limited channel that the world would have you depend on. Instead of looking to your job, your investments, your connections, or your current circumstances as your source, you're declaring your trust in eternity, not economy. This transformation in where you direct your attention changes everything about how you approach abundance. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle is someone who has been looking to finite sources for infinite supply, depending on limited channels for unlimited provision. But when you say infinite spirit, you're recognizing divine intelligence as the true origin of all wealth, acknowledging that every dollar, every opportunity, every resource ultimately flows from this inexhaustible source. The journey from limited thinking to infinite possibilities begins with this simple but profound shift in recognition. The impact of addressing infinite spirit directly cannot be overstated because it immediately elevates your consciousness above economic conditions, market fluctuations, and worldly limitations. You're speaking to the force that created galaxies, that orchestrates the perfect timing of seasons, that maintains the precise balance of the entire universe. When you continue with open, the way you're issuing a command that operates on multiple levels simultaneously. This is not a request or a suggestion. It's a direct instruction to remove all subconscious interference, dissolve every mental block, and reveal the open door through which your supply flows. The hidden truth behind this phrase is that you're not trying to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances. Instead, you're removing friction through the principle of non-resistance. The decisions you make about how you understand these words determine the level of authority with which you speak them. Most people unconsciously create resistance to their good through limiting beliefs, fearful thoughts, and subconscious programming that says they don't deserve abundance. But when you command open the way, you're instructing divine intelligence to bypass all of this internal interference and create a clear pathway for your manifestation. This mindset shift from effortful forcing to effortless allowing transforms your entire approach to creating abundance. You're working with spiritual law rather than against it, flowing with divine order rather than fighting against invisible obstacles. The universe knows exactly which channels need to open, which opportunities need to appear, which connections need to be made. Write in the comments, "The way is opening." If you can feel the power behind these words, and you're ready to speak them with complete understanding. The next phrase carries tremendous power because it eliminates the most common mistake people make when trying to manifest abundance: waiting for someday. When you declare for my immediate supply, you're speaking of now, not someday. You're not asking for eventual provision or hoping for future abundance. You're commanding immediate manifestation. This transformation in timing consciousness is crucial because in spirit there is no time, only divine order. What belongs to you already exists in the invisible, realm waiting for your authoritative command to appear in physical form. Behind the scenes of every delayed manifestation is someone who has been speaking in future tense rather than present authority. The journey from "someday I'll have enough to my supply" is immediate represents a fundamental shift in spiritual understanding. The impact of this timing adjustment cannot be overstated because the universe responds to the frequency of immediacy with immediate results, while it responds to the frequency of delay with continued delay. The decisions you make about whether to speak from present authority or future hope determine whether you experience instant demonstrations or prolonged waiting. When you understand that your abundance exists right now in the invisible realm, when you realize that divine timing means now, when you grasp that there is no spiritual reason for delay, you begin to speak with the kind of urgency that commands immediate response. This mindset shift brings us to perhaps the most important aspect of the entire sentence. Let all that is mine by divine right. These words carry profound significance because they establish that what you're calling forth are not possessions of pride, not ego-driven desires, not things you're trying to take from others. These are things that have been assigned to you by spiritual law, resources that belong to you according to divine order, abundance that serves the highest good for all involved. The transformation happens when you realize you're not competing with others for limited resources. You're claiming what has been specifically designated as yours by divine intelligence. Behind the scenes of this understanding lies the recognition that the universe operates on principles of perfect justice and infinite supply. What belongs to you cannot be taken by another, and what belongs to another cannot be claimed by you. This revelation eliminates guilt, competition, and scarcity thinking because you understand that you're aligning with cosmic order rather than fighting against it. The hidden truth is that when you receive your divine inheritance, it actually creates more abundance for everyone else rather than taking from them. Your prosperity serves the greater good because you become a channel through which divine abundance flows into the world. Write in the comments, "I claim my divine right." If you understand that your abundance serves not just you but contributes to the prosperity of all. The next phrase transforms you from someone who sends energy outward trying to attract abundance into someone who magnetically good into immediate manifestation. When you declare, "Now, reach me," you're engaging in magnetic reception, pulling everything that belongs to you into the present moment with irresistible spiritual force. This isn't about chasing or seeking. It's about commanding your abundance to find you, to locate you, to reach you, wherever you are right now. The transformation embedded in these words dissolves every barrier that has been standing between you and your prosperity. Time becomes irrelevant because you're calling your good into now. Fear becomes powerless because you're speaking from absolute authority. Distance becomes meaningless because spiritual law operates beyond physical limitations. Disbelief becomes impossible because you're operating from the frequency of someone who knows their words carry divine power. Behind the scenes of this magnetic process, something remarkable happens in the invisible realm. Instead of you pursuing opportunities, opportunities begin pursuing you. Instead of you searching for solutions, solutions start appearing in your path. The journey from seeking to receiving represents one of the most profound shifts in consciousness you can experience because it moves you from effort to effortlessness. The final phrase of this sacred sentence carries perhaps the most transformative energy of all in great avalanches of abundance. Here you're commanding not drops of prosperity, but downpours of wealth. Not small portions, but overwhelming floods of supply. The decisions you make about how boldly you're willing to command abundance determine how generously the universe responds to your decree. The hidden truth behind the avalanche metaphor, that this is exactly how your good will appear when you speak, with true spiritual authority. Avalanches are massive, sudden, completely unstoppable, and they come from an accumulation of energy that reaches a tipping point and releases all at once. This is the precise mechanism through which divine abundance manifests when you learn to speak correctly. The impact of commanding avalanches rather than requesting trickles cannot be overstated. Most people unconsciously limit their manifestations by speaking small, thinking small, expecting small results. But when you understand that the same spiritual law that can manifest $1 can manifest $1 million, when you realize that infinite spirit doesn't struggle with large amounts any more than small amounts, you begin to speak with the kind of boldness that commands massive demonstration. This mindset shift from scarcity thinking to abundance commanding opens up possibilities that seemed impossible from your previous level of consciousness. You're no longer asking for just enough. You're commanding overflow, surplus, more than enough to meet every need and fulfill every desire. Write in the comments, I command avalanches. If you're ready to, speak with this level of spiritual boldness and expect massive manifestation in your life now. Understanding the power of this sacred sentence is only the beginning of your transformation. Because having the right words without proper implementation is like having a key without knowing how to use it. Your subconscious mind, which controls approximately 95% of your daily experiences, operates according to very specific principles. It responds to repetition, emotion, and imagery. And until you deliberately reprogram it with your new financial vocabulary, your outer world will continue reflecting the old patterns that have been running in the background of your consciousness. The journey from conscious understanding to subconscious acceptance requires a systematic approach that goes far deeper than simply knowing what to say. Behind the scenes of every lasting transformation is someone who understood that you must replace old limiting patterns like, I can't afford it or money, is tight with the new sentence until it becomes a living vibration in your being. This isn't about covering up negative thoughts with positive ones. It's about actually overriding the fundamental programming that creates your financial reality. The transformation happens through deliberate, consistent repetition that reaches the deepest levels of your mind. You must speak the sacred sentence, first thing upon waking when your subconscious is most receptive and last thing before sleep when your mind is preparing to process the day's experiences. These are the golden moments when the conscious mind's resistance is lowest and the subconscious is wide open to receiving new instructions. The impact of creating this disciplined rhythm cannot be overstated because it establishes a new, vibrational frequency that operates 24 hours a day. Even when you're not consciously thinking about money, The decisions you make about consistency determine whether this becomes a temporary experiment or a permanent transformation. This isn't about speaking the sentence when you feel like it or when you remember. It requires the discipline of a spiritual warrior who understands that their financial freedom depends on this commitment. Most people fail at reprogramming because they approach it casually, sporadically, without the understanding that the subconscious mind requires consistent input to create lasting change. But when you commit to this morning and evening practice with unwavering dedication, when you speak the sentence with emotion and conviction every single day, when you create the rhythm that allows this new frequency to take root in the deepest levels of your consciousness, everything begins to shift from the inside out. The hidden truth is that this practice works, whether you believe it will or not, because you're working with natural laws of mind that operate with mathematical precision. Write in the comments, "I commit to the rhythm," if you're ready to establish this daily practice that will reprogram your entire relationship with abundance. This understanding of rhythmic reprogramming brings us to the moment where theory transforms into demonstrable results through a specific measurable challenge that will prove to you beyond any doubt that these principles work. For the next 7 consecutive days, you're going to speak the sacred sentence morning and night without excuse, without doubt, without delay. This isn't a casual experiment. It's a precise test of spiritual law that will shift something fundamental in your reality. The transformation begins the moment you commit to this challenge, because you're not just changing what you say, you're changing who you are at the vibrational level. Behind the scenes of these 7 days, powerful forces will begin rearranging circumstances, opening channels, and preparing demonstrations that will arrive in ways you never could have predicted. The journey from skepticism to certainty happens when you experience firsthand how quickly the universe responds to consistent authoritative declaration. During these 7 days, you're absolutely forbidden from speaking lack in any form. No complaining about bills, no worrying about money, no casual statements about what you can't afford. Every word that passes through your lips must align with abundance, because you're conducting a scientific experiment in consciousness. And contaminating the test with limiting language will dilute your results. The impact of this challenge extends far beyond just financial demonstration, because you're actually rewiring your entire nervous system to expect prosperity rather than struggle. The decisions you make about your commitment level during these 7 days will determine whether you experience a minor shift or a complete breakthrough. Something will shift. You may receive unexpected checks in the mail, surprising job offers, creative breakthroughs that generate income, debts that suddenly get forgiven, or opportunities that appear from nowhere. This mindset shift from hoping these principles work to knowing they must work creates the kind of certainty that accelerates manifestation. When your 7 days are complete, you'll seal this transformation with rapid-fire affirmations that lock in your new vibrational frequency. You'll declare with absolute conviction, "Money comes to me swiftly, easily, and continuously. I command divine supply and it appears under grace. My word is law. Money finds me, it is already done." The hidden truth behind this final sealing is that you're not trying to convince yourself of something untrue. You're acknowledging what has become true through your disciplined practice. Your word has literally become law in your experience. And money must find you because you've aligned yourself with the fundamental principles that govern abundance. You've just received something that most people will search for their entire lives without ever finding. The exact spiritual technology that transforms your relationship with money from struggle to flow, from chasing to commanding, from anxiety to absolute certainty. The fact that you stayed with me through this entire journey tells me everything I need to know about your commitment to creating real change in your life. This isn't the kind of content you stumble across by accident. This understanding of how to speak abundance into existence, how to command spiritual law through conscious decree, how to reprogram your subconscious for prosperity. This found you because you were ready for it. And if you're ready for this level of transformation, then you're definitely ready for what's coming next. I share these principles because I've seen them work in countless lives, including my own. When you subscribe to this channel, you're not just getting more videos. You're staying connected to a consistent source of spiritual wisdom that can guide you through every aspect of creating the life you truly desire. This is where people come when they're ready to stop hoping and start commanding their reality. If this message resonated with you, if you can feel the shift already, beginning in your consciousness, comment below and simply say, "This message was meant for me." I read every single comment because I want to know that these teachings are landing in the hearts and minds of people who are truly ready to use them. And if you felt that connection throughout our time together today, if this content created value in your life, let me know by hitting the like button. It helps more people find these teachings when they need them most. Speaking of which, there's a video right here that complements this topic perfectly. It's about the specific mindset shifts that accelerate manifestation and eliminate the waiting period between speaking your word and seeing your results. Click and continue with me over there because your transformation is just getting started. Thank you.